During World War II, the China-Burma-India theater was third in priority behind the European and Pacific theaters, but crucial to the overall conflict. The Japanese Army and anti-British Indians combined forces to advance as far as Imphal, just inside India's border with Burma. There, they threatened both India itself and the crucial Hump routes that carried supplies from the harbor at Calcutta over the eastern Himalayas to Kunming and elsewhere in China. In June 1944, fighting raged simultaneously in France, the island of Saipan, and at Imphal. Still visible in aerial photographs, Ondal Air Base was one of many bases built and operated by the U.S. Army Air Forces in northeastern India, and it has mistakenly been considered one of the least important. Better-known bases saw endless streams of cargo planes bound for the Hump. Other bases saw regular departures of B-24 and B-25 bombers bound for Japanese targets in Burma. Some Indian bases hosted long-range B-29 bombers as they set off on Operation Matterhorn, the first bombing of the Japanese home islands after the Doolittle raid. Ondal was long known only as a service base, assembling planes after they arrived by ship from the U.S. and performing major overhauls when needed. Ondal Air Base had another mission, however, one that remained secret until documents were declassified in 2009, 64 years after the war ended. Ondal was a central depot for U.S. toxic chemical weapons in the China-Burma-India theater. Its stockpile included hundreds of one-ton tanks filled with toxic chemicals and 100,000 or more bombs containing mustard agent, lewisite, phosgene, and cyanogen chloride. These bulk chemicals and bombs were never used on the battlefield. Still, they were ready from the middle of 1944 until the war's end for potential use, either within the CBI theater or for bombing Japan itself. After the war, most of Ondal's toxic munitions were dumped into the Bay of Bengal, but some were buried on site. A less secret but long ignored fact about Ondal Air Base is the extent to which its construction and operation depended upon the low-paid labor of local Indians. An Army photographer visited Ondal in March of 1943, assigned to capture photographs that would inspire and reassure the American public. He completed that assignment, capturing newspaper-ready photos of heroic bomber crews, hard-working mechanics, cheerful Red Cross workers, celebrating soldiers, and more. He recorded other images as well, showing the reality for local workers in British-ruled India. When the photographer visited, the price of rice was soaring as locally grown supplies were diverted to Europe. The months ahead would bring a devastating famine that killed millions of Indians. India gained its independence from Britain just 2 years after the war, separated in a bloody partition to form the nations of India and Pakistan and later Bangladesh. Together, these three nations now account for nearly a quarter of the world's population. Each nation has its own strengths and challenges, and each has its unique ties and conflicts with the United States. The true history and the preferred future of American relations with the peoples of South Asia pose a multitude of questions worth considering. We invite you to explore.